Good evening.
Oh,
no. Hashem wanted everybody should have a couple of minutes with each other. For some reason, we couldn't get it to work here. So I hope you'll manage to catch up a little bit.
we did.
Very important. Okay, we haven't got much time. We already lost 10 minutes. So just say something very, very briefly.
Everybody on mute.
One of the famous minhagim about Seder night is that we wear kittel, a white beged. Say b'shem Maharal that the Kohen Gadol, when he went into the Kodesh HaKadoshim, we would wear white clothes, linen clothes. We'll be learning a lot about linen in a minute. So now, the Kohen Gadol was the most Kaddish person in Klal Yisrael. Which day of the year is the most Kaddish day of the year? Is Yom Kippur. The most Kaddish place is the Kodesh HaKadoshim. So on Yom Kippur, the most Kaddish place, Kodesh HaKadoshim, would get entered by the Kohen Gadol, the most Kaddish person, on the most Kaddish day. The Kodesh HaKadoshim on Yom Kippur, with the Kohen Gadol, was the 3 triple Kedushas. When we wear the kittel on Seder night, we're reminding ourselves of that Kedusha, that we are able, through our behavior, to keep the mitzvahs of Seder night, to get to that level of those 3 Kedushas. And Wittmann brings that obviously this only works if a person prepares himself. I mean, the person has to, just like the Kohen Gadol, 7 days before Yom Kippur, he has to start preparing in his mind about what he's going to do on Yom Kippur. So at least 7 days before Pesach, a person should be thinking that he's going to have a mitzvah of Sifrei Tzas Mitzrayim, a mitzvah of eating matzah, a mitzvah of singing Hallel. And if you prepare yourself, you should all be zeicha indeed to reach that triple level of Kedusha. Okay. We're up to Daf Chavav Amud Aleph, about 10 lines from the top. We just finished off with a story, a tragic story, that halach is you're not allowed to light candles with tzori, which is a kind of nice smelling oil, and there were 2 reasons given for it. One reason is it flies around, it's volatile. Another reason is it smells nice. And since it smells nice, women would often use it to perfume themselves. And then there's a chashash that if a woman takes oil out of a bowl, then it should be over on the Issa Mechaba of putting out a fire, putting out the candle. So now the Gemara tells us, B'derech Agav, it explains the Pasuk. The Pasuk is describing the Nebuchadnezzar, that after he captured Yerushalayim, he took out all the great people into Golus, and he left behind some Yidden. Now, why would the evil king like Nebuchadnezzar leave behind Yidden in Eretz Yisrael? So the Gemara explains, based on our previous knowledge. It says the Gemara like this: Umidalas haaretz, from the poor, from the weak of the land, Hishin Nebuzradon, Rav Tabochim, the head, either means of the murderers, or Tabochim can mean the butchers. Lakomim ulayogvim. He left people behind for Komim and Yogvim. So it says Komim Tani Rabbi Yosef Ilu Malakti Afarsman. Those who would gather Afarsman in Gedi Rad Vomsot, from Ein Gedi to Vomsot, it's 2 different places. Yogvim Elu Tzayodei Chalazon, those who would hunt the Chalazon, and they would squeeze it to take out its blood. Misulomo Shotzu, from the steep pathways that goes up to Ad Chayfa until Chayfa. I'm not sure what you've done. I think, Shai, you managed to change my screen. I don't know if you changed everybody else's screen. Hello?
I guess, sorry.
Was it you? I'm not sure what happened. It doesn't matter. Anyway, so Rashi explains that Nebuchadnezzar wanted to have posh clothes. So therefore, he left behind in Eretz Yisrael people that could help him in his pursuit of wearing fancy clothes and fancy perfume. So those that would collect the afalsmum, which we just said was a nice oil, and those that would get the chilozim, which is a beautiful kind of blood, which could produce from it a nice color blue. So those he left behind, simply that they should then provide him with things for his clothes. Says the Gemara, Tonu Rabbanon, Ein madlikin betevel tomei bechol. You're not allowed to burn weekday and kavachim on Shabbos. Bechol ein sechlim b'Shabbos. Tevel is any produce which you have not taken tumas from. One's not allowed to eat tevel. That the Torah tells us. But burning tevel, you might have thought, what's so bad? I'm not allowed to eat the tevel, so I'll burn it. While I'm burning it, I'll get some nice candle light or nice heat. Not allowed to light with white neft. It's interesting, more use the word kayotze, even though we'll see there's no similarity in reasoning. Especially when if they show off because it flies around, it's volatile. We had this post yesterday. The word tumoisa is plural. The state tumoisa kosim. Achas tumot tohyo, ve'achas tumot tameo. Ma tumot tohyo in lechabol mishas saloma ve'elach. You're only allowed to benefit from once tumas amaises were taken. After tumot tameo in lechabol mishas saloma ve'elach. Tumot tameo in lechabol mishas saloma ve'elach. You can only get pleasure from the time they take tumas amaises and onwards. Meaning that mishas saloma ve'elach is like this. Just like by tumot tohyo, toy produce, you're not allowed to get pleasure from the tevel until you have taken the tumas amaises out of it. But before you've taken tumas amaises out of it, you're not allowed to. Also, by tomei produce, you're not allowed to get pleasure from it before you've taken tumas amaises. That means you might have thought tevel, which is tomei. So it's tevel, meaning the tumas amaises haven't been taken, and it's tomei. Let me just burn it. What am I doing anything wrong with it? Kamashman on the Torah, no. The fact that the Torah puts both tumas, tumah tahira and tumah tameh in the same breath by using tumoisai, my tumas, one's referring to Torah tumah and one's referring to tomei tumah. The Torah is teaching us that no, that you have to be careful. Just like by tumah tahira, you're not allowed to get pleasure because it's misa if you eat it, or it's by tevel by tumah tameh, even though you're not going to actually eat it, you're just going to burn it. The Torah puts the two together to teach us, like just like by Tahova, you're not allowed to get pleasure before. Also by Tameo, you're not allowed to get pleasure before you have taken Havama. Says the Gemara. Gufa. We're going to recap, we're going to analyze. So now the Gemara just brings a list of Tanoim regarding which candles, which oils you're allowed to use, for Shabbos lights. You're not allowed to light with soy. We said two reasons you're not allowed to light with soy. What are the two reasons you're not allowed to light with soy? What are the two reasons not allowed to light with soy?
Smells,
so therefore?
Not cold.
No, that's the other one. That's Itzun that smells bad. Soy smells good. And what will happen is women will use it.
and women might use it for perfume.
And they'll come out to Mechal. And also it's volatile. It's just the sap, the gum that comes out from the trees of the kotov. Rashi brings two explanations. Either Rishon Aloza is just identifying for us what sorry is. Alternatively, Shimon ben Elazar over here is teaching us why you can't use sorry. And he's actually giving us a third reason. What is the third reason? Is that anything which comes from a tree does not get absorbed in the wick very well. Anything that comes from a fruit does. Says Shimon Elazar that soy comes directly from the tree. Since it comes directly from the tree, it doesn't get absorbed so well into the wick, and therefore it's no good. Anything which goes directly from a tree, you're not allowed to light with it. Why? Because it doesn't absorb into the flame soil, into the wick. You're only allowed to light something which comes from a fruit. Seemingly they say the same thing. One says don't use something that comes directly from the tree. Another one says use something that comes directly from a fruit. The Rishonim explained this in Afkimina. For example, fish oil. If you say don't use something that comes directly from the tree, so fish oil is okay. If you say you have to use something that comes directly from a fruit, then fish oil is no good. You're only allowed to use olive oil. Stood on his feet. What can they do? They only have sesame seed oil. They only have nut oil. They only have shemen made out of radishes or tznoy. All they have is neft. Only which the Chachamim said you're not allowed to light, and everything else you are allowed to light. Only that which Chachamim say you're not allowed to light, everything else you are allowed to light. You're even allowed to use fish oil. Here there's a machlokes. Rashi says what exactly is fish oil. Rashi says it's the insides of a fish which have been melted and dissolved. Teresa says it's the eye of the fish. That if you squeeze the eye of the fish, out comes oil. Ube itron, and you're even allowed to use itron. What is itron? Does anybody remember?
Tar, no? Tar?
Oh, Zephyrus is tar. Itron is tar which has been heated up, and out of it comes an oil. It was in the first. What?
Pitch.
Pitch. Yeah, but what does it come from? It comes from tar which has been heated. That was the first amud in Bama Madlikin. Allowed to use shemen pakois, which is a kind of pumpkin that grows in the desert. Ubeneft, and you're allowed to use neft. Anything that comes out of flesh, like fat, etc. Talo, you're not allowed to. But you're allowed to use fish oil. The Gemara, the same as the Tanakama, meaning of Yechon ben Nui. Because Rabbi Yechon ben Nui said you're allowed to light with shemen dogim, and so the Sumcha say allowed to use shemen dogim. So Tanakama over here is Rabbi Yechon ben Nui. We don't know which round it is. Meaning, Avuna Marav told us both a chumrah and a kula. That means the Mishnah earlier told us you're not allowed to light with chela. Pashtus, you are allowed to light with shemen dogim. Comes along Avuna Marav, and he says, regarding chela, you're not allowed to light, but if you mix it with another oil, you are allowed to light. And shemen dogim, which you said you are allowed to light, is only if it's mixed up with something else as well. These two Tanoim argue regarding Avuna. One Tana holds that when it comes to shemen dogim, you're allowed to light it without a mixture, and shemen chelev you have to add with a mixture. The other man says that shemen chelev is also that shemen dogim is muta alidei tavovos, and chelev is completely forbidden. That means there are three levels. And one says, we don't know which way around it is, the Tanakama meaning of Yechon Nui or Sumchos. Bunda says, shemen dogim and chelev, both of them, you're allowed to use if it's mixed with something else. One Tana says, no, chelev, if it's mixed with something else, is permitted, and shemen dogim is allowed on its own. Another Tana says, no, shemen dogim is permitted with a mixture, and chelev is completely forbidden. So you have three shittas regarding chelev and shemen dogim. And therefore, one says, we don't know which way around it is. One says, the shitta of Avuna Marav, that you need to mix it with other oil. But it's not clear which way around. For the next, just basically a whole daf actually. There's no, in the literal translations, there's no simon. There's no simon to say which shit Tana holds like which shitta. The next daf, it goes off completely off Ilchas Shabbos and discusses clothing because of our Mishnah. And basically like this, there are certain times the Torah talks about clothes. When does the Torah talk about clothes? Anybody want to hazard a guess?
Shatnez.
Shatnez, very good. Well,
Tzitzis.
Kohen Gadol.
Tzitzis, Kohen Gadol. Anywhere else? Two more places fundamental.
Very safe Kasonis.
Tzavas, no, so what is about halachic places. So Tzavas and Tumas Sheretz, very briefly. Tumas Sheretz is a dead reptile that if it touches clothes, the clothes become tummy. And the goyim is Tzavas. If a person's wearing a suit and it's got Tzavas on it, that suit becomes tummy. Now, we've got many different things that clothes can be made out of. Wool, polyester, linen. Does the Torah, whenever the Torah uses clothes, does the Torah mean all kinds of clothes, only certain kinds of clothes? That is the question. Now, the Torah, when it comes to tzoras, says very, very clearly, tzemer upishtim. That means, if you're wearing a silk shirt and you get tzoras on it, what would the halacha be? There's no tzoras on silk. There's no tzoras on silk. Only wool and linen. That means there the Torah says clearly. The question is other places the Torah doesn't talk. Okay, we're going to go through it very clearly. So we're talking about clothes. I mean, when we talk about clothes, there are always 3 or 4 measurements of clothes. Basic clothes are 3 tvachim by, basic clothes are big. But up to the size of 3 tvachim by 3 tvachim, approximately 30 centimeters by 30 centimeters, that is big enough that even a wealthy person uses it as clothes. He'll use it 30 centimeters by 30 centimeters. He can use it as a scarf. He can use it as a sock, something like that. Less than 3 tvachim, but bigger than 3 by 3 etzbos, and etzba is about 2 centimeters. So let's say something which is bigger than 3 etzbos by 3 etzbos. Let's say a piece of clothing 10 centimeters by 10 centimeters. Wealthy people do not use it. 10 centimeters by 10 centimeters is a piece of clothing about that big, right? The length of your finger to the width of your finger, very short. A wealthy person will not use such an item of clothing. Poor person would. Less than 3 by 3, nobody will use. So now, when the Torah says that clothes are tummy, pashas, we have to work out, are we talking about all materials, and are we talking about all sizes? And this is the big topic we're discussing. Tanya of Shimon al-Azayma, all materials that come out of a tree, for example, cotton wool or canvas, will not become tummy if it's 3 fingers by 3 fingers. And therefore, you can use it as schach. If you take cotton wool, since it's less than 3 by 3, hasn't yet been spun into a clothes, therefore, you can make schach out of it. Chutz mipishon, except from linen. Linen, you're not allowed to make a schach out of linen because it's mekabel tumah. And since it's mekabel tumah, therefore, look at Rashi. Chutz mipishon, dafinu lekamon, the ikri 8, it's called a tree, mekabel tumah, it's legom, afil unin shaboy. Come on, even just bundles of flax before you made it into clothes mekabel tumah. You cannot take schach with bundles of flax or linen.
Why bundles of schach mekabel tumah?
Oh, the halacha is you're not allowed to use anything which is mekabel tumah for schach, right? So therefore, since linen is mekabel tumah, whatever stage it's in, you can never use it for schach. Omar Abai. Top of Chav Vav Amud Beis. Rabbi Shimon ben Elazar, this of Shimon ben Elazar, the Tana Debei Rabbi Yishmael Amud Davar Echad, they said the same principle, the same halacha. Shimon ben Elazar had the Amud. Shimon ben Elazar, that which we just said. That means he held that pishton becomes tummy when it's very small, but everything else like cotton wool doesn't become tummy. Tana Debei Rabbi Yishmael Mai, the Tana Debei Rabbi Yishmael. So what's the Tana Debei Rabbi Yishmael? The Tana Debei Rabbi Yishmael as follows: Hol b'nem u'begodim b'ter stam. The Torah many times uses the word begodim. Stam means without specifying which clothes we're talking about. In one of the places where the Torah talks about clothes, i.e., when it comes to tzoras, the Torah specifically says semer u'pishtim. We're talking about wool and linen. Malahal semer u'pishtim. Just like there, we're talking about wool and linen. Af kol semer u'pishtim. Everywhere we're talking about just wool and linen. According to this Tana Debei Rabbi Yishmael, since when the Torah uses the word begodim by tzoras, it tells us afterwards wool and linen, that teaches us that only clothes made out of wool and linen get tzoras. So clothes, as we said before, made out of silk will not get tzoras. Clothes made out of cotton wool will not get tzoras. Clothes made out of canvas will not be noticed in tzoras. Since the Torah said that there, whenever the Torah uses the word begodim, clothes, and the Torah has not taught us which kind of clothes we're talking about, the Torah means only wool and linen. So therefore, if you've got clothes made out of cotton wool, and a dead sheretz touches it, what would the halacha be? If you've got clothes made out of cotton wool, and a dead sheretz touches it, according to this Tana Debei Rabbi Yishmael at this stage of the Gemara, what would be?
Tohor.
Tohor, very good. It would be tohor. Why would it be tohor? Because the Torah said wool and linen by tzoras, and the Torah said clothes. The Torah says, "Va'beged, any clothes kiya by tzoras, that's tzoras." And then it carries on. Va'beged semoy, va'beged pishtim, and I'm talking about wool, and I'm talking about linen. So when the Torah uses the word clothes, the Torah afterwards explains, when I say clothes, what do I mean? I mean wool and linen. So whenever the Torah says the word clothes, it means wool and linen. And therefore, if I've got clothes made out of something not wool and linen, like silk, and it touches a dead sheret, it's not Tommy. Says Abaya that these two Tanoim, the Tana and the Aleph of Shimon Elazar, who told us that doesn't become Tommy by 3, is the same as Rabbi Shmuel that says that all clothes, with the exception of wool and linen, don't become Tommy. Says Rava, no. What would be if you've got clothes which are 3 tefachim by 3 tefachim? That's the machlekes. So Rabbi Shimon ben Elazar, Islay, there is tumah. It tells Rabbi Shmuel, Leslay. It tells Rabbi Shmuel, hold there's no tumah. If you've got a 3 by 3 beggar, 3 tefachim, it's quite confusing here. Whenever we say sholosh al sholosh, we're talking about loshen zocher. Sorry, we're talking about loshen nekeva. So then, whenever we say sholosh al sholosh, we're talking about loshen nekeva, and we're talking about fingers, it's boys. Whenever we say shloisha al shloisha, we're talking about 3 loshen zocher, and then we're talking about tefachim. Let's get it clear. If you have this clear, it's also worth something.
How do you say Amos?
Oh, sometimes it can mean an Amma, but not here. Here it does not mean Amos. Sholish can also mean Amos. You're right. Sholish can mean Amos. But here, Sholish means it's boys. An etzba, there are 4 fingers to a tefach. And a tefach is approximately 10 centimeters, a finger is approximately 2.5 centimeters. So now, whenever we say Sholish, we're talking about 3, it's boys, 3 fingers. When we talk about Shloisha, we're talking about 3 tefachim. So now, says Rava that even though they sound the same, these Tanoim, they're not the same. In what way are they different? According to the Tana on Amud Aleph of Shimon Elazar, he said that all clothes don't become Tomei 3 by 3. What did he say? Sholosh al sholosh, meaning 3 fingers by 3 fingers. But 3 tefachim by 3 tefachim would become Tomei. But Tana Rabbi Shmuel holds that even 3 tefachim by 3 tefachim would not become Tomei. And they won't explain later why they argue about this. Again, a piece of clothing made out of silk, 3 tefachim by 3 tefachim. According to Abaya, both according to Shimon Elazar and according to Rabbi Shmuel, they will not become Tomei. Because Abaya says they're all the same. According to Rava, no. According to Rabbi Shmuel, they won't be Tomei. According to Shimon Elazar, they would be Tomei. It says what? The Kulam Amir Sholosh al Sholosh, 3 by 3 it's boys. That when it comes to wool and linen, they become Tomei through tzoras. Minola. How do we know? The Tanya, because we learn like this. Beged. The Torah says a beged. Only a beged. That only teaches 3 clothes. Sholosh al sholosh b'nayin. How do I know? The Torah says beged. Sholosh al sholosh b'nayin. How do I know? Even if it's only 3 fingers by 3 fingers. Now we're doing about veha beged. Since the Torah says veha beged, Vav and Hey are spare. It could say beged ki yebotzora neged tzoras. I've got it by the side more. The first pasuk quoted at length. Veha beged ki neged tzoras. The Torah could have said beged ki yebotzora. Veha beged and the clothes is to teach you that a piece of clothing, even if it's only 3 by 3 fingers, it's metame b'tzoras. Maybe when the Torah says veha beged, it's not coming to tell me that a piece of clothing 3 etzbois by 3 etzbois is metame. Maybe it's only coming to tell me a clothes 3 tefachim by 3 tefachim is metame. So it says lav kal v'chimo, it's a kal v'chimo. It's not kal v'chimo. Hashta now. Shesi ve'ev metame. Shesi ve'ev refer to the threads which make clothes out. If you've got a picture in your mind how they used to make clothes, what they used to do is they would tie strings from one end to the other, hundreds and hundreds of strings, and then they would take a ball of string and throw it in between and weave it back and forth. So Shesi is the strings that are tied down, and Erev is the strings that you throw back and forth through all the other threads to create a clothing. Now the Torah tells us clearly that Shesi and Erev, meaning just the strings, can become Tomei. Because the pasuk says, Oy b'shsi, oy b'arev, that they can also become tzoras. If they can get tzoras, kal v'chima, a piece of clothing 3 by 3 tefachim, can get tzoras. So the Torah says, veha beged, which is spare, extra, vav hey, spare, is not teaching me that a 3 by 3 tefachim can become tummy. Because that's how the worked out kavachim from Shesi Verev. It's coming to teach me a 3 by 3 tzvois can become tummy. So it says, Lav kavachim, Asher Shesi Verev mitame shloisha shloisha miboya, 3 by 3, of course. Do I need to teach me such a thing? So it says, Yochi shloisha shloish lami, 3 by 3 tzvois as well. Leisi b'kal v'chima. Let me also, shloisha shloish lami leisi b'kal v'chima. I should be a kal v'chima that what? That just like the thread of the warp or the loom, it's called, is metame kavachim, a piece of clothing, 3 by 3 its boys. What says elo or loy? No. Shloisha dechazu ben nashim ben anim. Like we said before, piece of clothing which is 3 tvach by 3 tvachim, 30 centimeters by 30 centimeters, which is user friendly for the wealthy and for the poor. Asi b'kavachim. Since it's ben Hashim ben Anim, it's also b'kal v'chima. It comes in the kal v'chima to teach me. That means if already Shesi ve'ev can become Tomei, kal v'chima also b'kal v'chima, that this can become Tomei. I could learn that kal v'chima. That shalosh, 3 by 3 it's boys. La'anim u'dechazion. It's good for poor. La'ashirim loy chazion. It's not suitable for the rich. Lo yosi b'kal v'chima. So it doesn't come. La'ashirim loy chazion. Lo yosi b'kal v'chima. You can't learn that b'kal v'chima. We would never learn it out from a kal v'chima. So now, the Torah says clothes of wool and linen shall become tomei through soras. So now, the Torah adds the words veha beget, the vav hey spek, which just said beget. So what's it coming to teach me? So the Gemara says like this: it's not teaching me 3 tvachim by 3 tvachim. Why is it not teaching me 3 tvachim by 3 tvachim? Why is it not teaching me 3 tvachim by 3 tvachim? Because 3 tvachim by 3 tvachim, I could work that kal v'chima from Shesi ve'ev. So what is veha beget coming to teach me? 3 etzbois by 3 etzbois. So if you've got a tiny piece of cloth, 3 etzbois, 6 centimeters by 6 centimeters of wool or linen, and it gets soras on it, what's the halacha? It's tummy. How do you know it? Oh, the Torah says the word beget, and it says veha beget. Oh, maybe veha beget is coming to me 3 tvachim. No, 3 tvachim I learn is kal v'chima. Why can't I learn 3 spoils kal v'chima? No, 3 spoils, since it's not user friendly for the rich, so therefore we don't learn for kal v'chima. Furthermore, ve'ema, I'll tell you the word veha beget is to dash them differently. Levaboy shloisha shloisha v'shar begodim. That if you've got, that's a piece of silk, which is 3 tvachim by 3 tvachim, and it gets soras on it, that it is tomei. How do I know it? Because the Torah says veha beget. So to teach me 3 tvachim by 3 tvachim, shloisha shloisha b'shar begodim, that it gets soras. Omar kvo beget semu pishtim, wool and linen, beget semu pishtim, and wool and linen. Yes, midi achin eloi, everything else does not become tomei. Midi achin eloi, other things do not become tomei through soras. The Ema says more like this: that the Torah says semu pishtim, which is a miut, right? Semu pishtim is a prat. A prat is a detail. A detail comes to exclude other things. Since the Torah said semu pishtim, the Torah is coming to exclude only wool and linen. Says the Gemara, I could still exclude, and it's like this. When did the Torah say that semu pishtim? Yes. And everything else not. That all other clothes on the mud excluded. B'sholish al sholish. That's only when they're 3 by 3 it's boys. But when they're 3 by 3 tfachim, metame, it comes tummy. That means the Torah says by tzoras that beget clothes, and it carries on seman pishtim, which we learned only one and then becomes tzoras, nothing else. It says, well, but maybe only when it's 3 by 3 it's boys, nothing else becomes tummy. But when it's 3 by 3 tfachim, everything else of sholish al shloish, when it's 3 by 3 tfachim, metame, it would become tummy. 3 tvachim by 3 tvachim is metame even by other clothes. Well, it says the Torah actually tells us twice wool and linen. Once the pasuk we had before, bebeget semo bebeget pishtim, and another pasuk which says like this. If you look at it, says bebeget semo oy pishtim, bebeget semo oy pishtim. It should say oy pishtim because it doesn't say the word beget the second time. Hapishtim. Chad limute misholish al sholish. Chad limute mishloish al shloisha. Wants to tell you that 3 by 3 fingers is not tummy by the clothes. Chad limute mishloish al shloisha. that even 3 tefachim by 3 tefachim is not tamei. So therefore, what do we see from here? That if you've got a silk or canvas or cotton wool or even leather clothes, actually leather clothes not, to say leather clothes, I made a mistake, but all clothes except for leather, which are 3 tefachim by 3 tefachim, let's say silk, and it gets soras, it is not tamei. Why? Because the Torah says tzemer pishtim twice. Says the Gemara, if you remember, we had 2 brises. One brise that told us that only wool and linen becomes tamei, nothing else. And another brise of Shimon HaLoza that says that anything which is 3 fingers by 3 fingers becomes tamei, nothing else. Abaya said that they're both holding exactly the same shitta. Rava came along and said, no, there's a difference. What is the difference if it's 3 tefachim by 3 tefachim? That according to Shimon HaLoza, they are tamei. And according to Rabbi Shmuel, they're not tamei. Says that when it comes to other clothes, that what? That was Shimon HaLoza Islay, that they become tamei. They told Rabbi Shmuel Leslie, that according to the Rabbi Shmuel Leslie, that what, they don't become tamei. So then Shloisha b'shar begodim, 3 tefach by 3, but the tefachim, Shloisha b'shar begodim, 3 by 3 in all other clothes, meaning 3 tefachim by 3 tefachim. Minoli. How do we know that Shloisha b'shar begodim minoli, top of Chav Zayin Amud Aleph? How do we know that b'shar begodim it becomes tamei? How do we know such a thing? That if you've got 3 tefachim by 3 tefachim, let's say of silk or canvas, it will become tamei. So it says nafka me'oi beget. When the Torah talks about the clothes becoming tamei by shvotzim, the Torah says like this: Oi beged oi sok. Why do you have to say oi beged? The oi is spare. It should have just said kol kli'etz beged oi. Why do you have to say oi beged? It's coming to tell you that oi beged is coming to teach you the oi that other clothes, if there are 3 by 3 tefachim, they will become tamei. Does everybody agree with this? It's a hard Gemara, it's a cheshbon Gemara. Does everybody agree that clothes which are 3 tefachim by 3 tefachim out of other materials, let's say silk, will become tamei? No. Why? Who doesn't agree? No, not Simchas. You've got Rabbi Shmuel, if you remember. Rabbi Shmuel, who said that kol hoyel v'nemu begodim af kol, everything is, he says everything even will never become tamei. Okay. Tanya beged, the Torah says beged, eli ele beged, shloisha b'shar begodim minayin. The Torah says beged, eli ele beged. I only know clothes. That means it has to be a proper item of clothing, not 3 by 3. Shloisha b'shar begodim minayin. How do I know 3 by 3 in all other clothes as well? That means if let's say 3 by 3 by let's say silk or something like that. The oi beged is coming to include 3 by 3. What does he do with the word oi beged? Because Abaya himself said that you don't use it to tell me that 3 by 3 is tamei. Because Abaya held that he holds that it's always toy because it's a different material. Abaya, oi beged my obviously. What does he do with it? He used it to tell you that 3 by 3 its boys will be tamei by semel pishtim, the mitame b'shvotzim. That Rabbi semel pishtim, the mitame b'shvotzim. That not just like by tzoras it's tamei, also by shvotzim. Since the Torah told us by tzoras that it's tamei, why didn't the shvotzim? The same halacha would apply to shvotzim. Just like the Torah says that 3 by 3 its boys is tamei by the goyim, so Huadin, the Shvotzim, you don't need an extra pasuk to tell us. Since the Torah tells us, where does the Torah tell us that 3 by 3 its boys is tamei by tzoras? What's the drasha?
V'habeged.
V'habeged. Since the Torah says v'habeged, and we use that to include that 3 by 3 its boys by semel pishtim is tamei. So now you don't need a drasha.
How do we know it's the number 3? Could it not be the number 4, like 4 fingers?
The answer is because that's what do we like poor person? No, we said before like this, that there are rich people and poor people. The clothes which are suitable for the rich.
An average of 3, yeah.
That means that was the standard clothes. Less than 3 tefachim nobody used. Less than 3 tefachim the poor used. And 3 by 3 we don't need a drasha. Why don't we need a drasha? Because it's kavachim from Shesi Verev. 3 boys we learn from Vehabeget. Says Rava, since Vehabeget tells us that by Tzorah 3 by 3 boys is Tomei. So Rava, but who had in the Shrotzim, the same halacha applies to Shrotzim. You can't compare, you can ask as follows. The negoim, the halacha is that the thread is metame bohem. That shesi ve'erev is metame by them. And since it's metame bohem by shesi ve'erev, and by shrotzim, it's not metame. So therefore, you can't learn shrotzim from negoim as follows. The Torah taught us from Veha Beged that a piece of clothing less, which is 3 fingers by 3 fingers, is metame by negoim. The Torah by shrotzim doesn't say clearly. But by shrotzim it does say that thread does not become tummy. If you've got your thread set up, hundreds of strings set up, and a dead shell touches it, it's not tummy. Not tummy, it's not a piece of clothing yet. Now, says Abba, since the Torah tells us it's not tummy, so therefore I would have thought neither is 3 by 3 tummy. So therefore that's why I need oi beged to tell me that it's tummy. And Rava says we learn it out from the goyim. But what's Rava going to do? Abaya's argument is very strong. How can you learn it from the goyim? So Gemara says ve'idach. What will Rava do? Again, because the goyim is shesivem betame bohem. Mashenke by shorts not. Ve'idach isak datach the goyim chamivi. If the goyim u'mochomu lichte v'achmona, the Torah should write gabe shrotzim that the tumah of 3 by 3. That 3 by 3 of Tzemer and Pishtim is tummy. That 3 by 3 it's boys of Tzemer and Pishtim is tummy. We should write it by Shrotzim. Veleisu negoyim, we should write it gabi Shrotzim by Shrotzim. Veleisu negoyim inayu, and we would learn negoyim from Shrotzim. Veleisu negoyim inayu, we would learn negoyim from Shrotzim. Meaning as follows. Rav has got the following argument. If you're going to say that, what's your argument? Your argument is that which is more chomo, negoim or shorts, which is more chomo? Negoim. What's the right negoim is more chomo? What's the right and negoim is more chomo than shortsim? Because negoim is metame even by threads, shortsim is not. Says Rava, if that would be the whole issue, I could tell you as follows. The Torah should have said that 3 boys by 3 boys is metame by shrotzim. And once it's metame by shrotzim, I'll just say kavachim by negoim. The fact that the Torah didn't do that is because the Torah understood it's all equal. Since it's all equal, so therefore the Torah told it to me by negoim, and from there I learned shrotzim. So therefore I don't need Oi Beged to tell me that 3 by 3 is tummy. So what's Oi Beged coming to teach me? That other clothes, not Seman Pishtim, like silk and other clothes, if they're 3 by 3 tfochim, they become tummy. Says well, be'idoch, what's Abai say to this? They're going with shrotzim loyosu. We would never learn the going from shrotzim. Why? Why wouldn't you learn the going from shrotzim? That means we wouldn't learn the halachas of tumas negoyim from tumas shrotzim. The Ekel Mifrach, you can ask as follows: Male shrotzim shken metame bechadosho. The Ekel Mifrach male shrotzim shken metame bechadosho. A shirt is metame the size of a lentil, and the goyim is metame. How much do you have to have for the goyim to become metame?
3 by 3 fingers.
How much?
3 by 3 fingers.
That's the clothes. Very good. I'm talking about how big does the actual tumah have to be? The tumah of tzaras.
Oh, it's like
thread. Thread.
Eh?
Size of a thread, did you say?
That's the clothes. The clothes can become tummy if they're a thread. But how big does the
it's like the size of a bean or something, I don't.
Gris.
Yeah, that's it. I remember this.
Oh, the size of a gris. Today, I spent actually quite a few hours making charts because I could see that till I wait until I find the right place online and I want to adjust it according to make it simpler. So I worked out that a gris comes out to be 1 in 720th of a square amma. Unfortunately, some other computer haven't printed it out yet. It took me hours. One day, Mitzvah Hashem, especially when we come to Erev, and it's good to have all the measurements. Now, a square amma is 57.6 centimeters times 57.6 centimeters, which is approximately 3,300 square centimeters. For those mathematicals inclined. 1/720th of 3,300 square centimeters is how much? About 4.75 square centimeters. That's quite a big shiur. The tumah of negoim has to be approximately 2 by 2 centimeters. So therefore, we will never learn saras from shrotzim, because shrotzim is metame bechadosha, the size of a lentil. So therefore, says Abai, we couldn't learn Vedoch. Abai said the Gom Shrotzim Neosim would never learn saras from shrotzim. Why? They can mifach on a shrotzim. And ask, what about shrotzim? She came metame bechadosha, that shrotzim are metame the size of a lentil. Ma'ashe'en kein saras is only metame by a gris. Omar Abai. Hi Tana de Bei Rabbi Shmuel, Mapik Midoch Tana de Bei Rabbi Shmuel. Tana de Bei Rabbi Shmuel means the Tana who learned to the Beis Medrash of Rabbi Shmuel. Abai says, I'm going to find you 2 Tanoim, and they argue with each other. Why? Both of them are Tana de Bei Rabbi Shmuel, and one of them excludes the other, meaning one contradicts the other. The Tana de Bei Rabbi Shmuel, Beged. I only know Beged, meaning I only know that the Beged or can become tummy of wool and any other Beged Semur Pishtim, only know wool and linen. What about the wool that grows on camels? The wool that grows on rabbits. The hair of goats. Rashi says, why is goats called noitza, hair, and everything else is called tsema, wool? So Rashi says it's slightly different how you cut it. Wool you shear. When it comes to goats, you don't shear it, you like pluck it, or you there's a way to take it off, and therefore it's not the same as, it's not considered wool. Shirin, who remembers what shirin is? Come on, somebody must remember what shirin was. We had it before. Don't look in the art school. Here I have to look in the art school. Okay, what's shirin?
Yeah.
What's silk? We had it to the first stuff. It's hard gemors because names. Shirin is silk. Kolach, what's kolach? Inferior silk. Vasvikin is soft silk. How do you know that all of this can become tummy? Tamud leima oi beged. The word oi includes all of them. So you see that one Rabbi Shmuel told us earlier, if you remember, one Rabbi Shmuel said the Torah uses the word beged and specifies wool and linen, and then we learn from whenever the Torah says the word beged, it always means wool and linen. And here we've got the Torah, the Rabbi Shmuel says the Torah says beged, and he includes all kinds of clothes. When did Tana Rabbi Shmuel not hold that becomes Tomei, that previous Tana Rabbi Shmuel, Rabbi Shmuel, the Shabbat that the Shabbat again, when did Tana Rabbi Shmuel say that it doesn't become Tomei by all other clothes? It's Sholish al Sholish with 3 fingers. Shlosh al Shloisha Islay. It's Sholish al Sholish 3 fingers not, but Shlosh al Shloisha 3 Tfachim Islay. He agrees it becomes Tomei. And this Tana are not arguing. One says it's not Tomei, so at 3 fingers. One says it is Tomei, so at 3 Tvachim. So Shlosh al Shloisha 3 Tvachim on 3 Tvachim Islay. He does hold of it. Rabba was one who said Shlosh al Shloisha, that 3 by 3 Tvachim b'shar begodim. When it comes to other clothes, Rosh Hashanah Islay, Rabbi Shmuel Lesley. Rabbi Shmuel holds it does become Tomei. Rabbi Shmuel Lesley holds it's not Tomei. And for the Gemara, Rabbi changed his mind. And Rabbi held the Maskana that, according to Rabbi Shmuel and Rabbi Shmuel, if it's 3 Tvachim by 3 Tvachim, it does become Tomei. So we've got to be like this. According to Abaya, he holds the Shmuel and Rabbi Shmuel hold that all clothes which are not made out of wool and linen will not become Tomei regardless of the size, even if it's 3 by 3 Tvachim. Rabbi Lamaskana says that both of them hold that it does become Tomei 3 by 3 Tvachim. When does it not become Tomei? Is only by 3 Etzboris. Okay, we're up to Iboy Sema. This Gemara does carry on for another Amud. Another whole Amud describing the halachas of clothes. It isn't easy, it's actually quite hard. I found that a big struggle to me a long time, this Gemara. But you get the Yesodis clear, it's worthwhile. How is everybody? How's everybody feeling? Anybody else caught it? Yehuda, how are you feeling? Are you feeling any... You lost your voice? No.
So a bit better today.
Oh, the best today. Oh, Baruch Hashem. Oh.
Yeah.
Couldn't hear you. I thought you lost your voice. No.
Yeah, I think I was up for about 4. I think I've been up for about 4 hours today.
Oh, wow.
Crazy, man.
Shabbos Sofa's going to be recorded. His Shiur.
Same as on here. Same Zoom
I mean,
recording.
they're going to put it to YouTube. Or they're going to put an audio out or something.
We'll try to afterwards.
What
Hopefully.
is this? What are you talking
After
about?
Droshes clashing. There's a few Droshes tonight at the same time. Shabbos
very
Sofa's 15.
Okay, Hatzlach with everything. Everybody should be well. Family should be well. Stay well. Mitzvah tomorrow we'll get back. We'll finish this and we'll get to a slightly easier Gemara. Okay, Hatzlach with everything.
Shiur.
Sure, thank you.
So where she really sorted it out.
Yeah, I'm logging on now.
Shlosh, God, Minayin, Tamil Oibeged. It says Oibeged. No, it does become